And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Bold Leadership Story Show. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. And this is the show where we talk about experiences shaping exceptional lives. And today I'm talking with Kahlil Cheeks. And Kahlil is uh, a motivated and looks like really busy guy. Welcome to the show, Kahlil.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be here with you.
Yeah. So you've got a business that you're working, and then you're also a forex and crypto options trader, futures trader. So your
Absolutely. Absolutely.
gray matter is working all the time, I'm sure.
Well, when I don't cut my hair, it's all gray matter on top too. So yeah, always working it. Always
All
working
right,
it.
cool. So and let's see, you're a team lead right now, right?
That's
Self-paid
right.
team
That's
lead,
right.
and you're
Manage
working
a
with.
team. Manage a team of about 13 people.
Okay.
Currently, it can be as high as 15 at times. Been as low as 10. But just manage a team of folks that what we do is we offer medical certifications online, and we work with potential students from all across the country who fill out lead forms online, of course, and express interest. And my team works with them to help get them from being interested to taking action on that new career path for themselves. So yeah, that's what pretty much what we do in a nutshell.
Okay, so you're it sounds like maybe in a different universe you might call it sales.
In a different universe, definitely sales. There's absolutely that aspect to it. It's a non-tangible item, and usually um, any person who comes down our path is looking for some type of long-term result. So there's a lot of consultation going on in there as well. So consultative sales, one and the same. But yes, we do a lot of work with the individual to help put them on a better path
Okay,
overall.
very good. So what do you enjoy most about doing that work right now?
I'd say it's actually like just what we said, and helping people find that new career path for themselves. They may not have the perfect job that they've always wanted, but they've always wanted to have a career in healthcare,
Hmm.
and so helping them make that transition at a low cost option. It doesn't take long to get done. Just getting the certification, usually about a 3 to 4 month window. It's a great alternative to traditional college 4 year. I went to college myself too, so I'm practicing what I preach about it. But it's a great alternative for a lot of people who don't have that 20, 30, 40, $50,000 to go to college. They might need a lower cost option. And to see people be able to get on that path, do it successfully, get certified, find that job, that career, that next career step. That's what I'm all about. Just being a small part of a bigger process. Um, I suppose with what I specifically do, managing the team of people who helps those people, on their journey. I get to make important decisions within the organization, help lead, guide, make change, which is always fun with a group of 13, 14 people, helping them adapt to change. But just as your show title says, just being a leader in that capacity, it's really rewarding. It's a great experience daily. Lots of challenges because you got 13 different personalities, all trying to accomplish the same goal. So it's challenging, but I love every single minute of what I do, no doubt about it.
Oh, that's excellent. You mentioned something interesting. You said that you get to.
Hmm.
Where does that come from?
Um, I guess in terms of, I feel like I get to help people in that sense. I look at it as a privilege, not necessarily as a job per se, but I feel like I'm fortunate to be in this position. I'm 47 years old now, so I've had to do a lot of things to get to a stage like this. But now, I get to work remotely from home, see my daughters grow up, being my wife, obviously, all of those things combined, for a job, I don't know what better scenario I could find myself in on a day in, day out basis that allows me to do all of the endeavors that I love and spend time with the people that I love too. So I look at it as a fortunate blessing. I think it's something that I get to do instead of have to do.
Okay. So how does that approach to life, um, how is that a benefit as a leader for you? How does
Mm.
that help you do fulfill your role as a leader better?
Hmm. Hmm. I would say, I as a leader, I've tried to put myself in a place of service, and I tell my staff, I'll say in this sense, it's a commission based role, so it's kind of an entrepreneurial spirit in some extent,
Okay.
and so I'll tell them like this is your office building. Like your office is your office building, and you're running your business out of that office building. And I look at myself as the service, as the janitor. I'm here to clean up the messes, help you be able to do a better job in your business model. With 14 different people, we have a standardized way of operating. But each individual that's on my team, they do the job in their own way, in the way that they communicate with our potential students. So really, them knowing that I'm in support of them. Now, of course, I got to make management type decisions. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do there? Where's our focus going to be? But just working in this type of environment, working remotely. This is my 4th year working remote.
Mm.
It takes a lot of that commute pressure off, and I can just come into my office, into my space, and just be clear of mind, just ready to go every single day. Prior to this role, I was commuting from Rancho Cucamonga to San Diego every day. Yeah, it was crazy, which is how I got to Temecula. We moved about halfway down.
Okay. I used
So
to do something almost as crazy, but not that crazy.
well, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but it was very in alignment with another one of my passions with it, which is trading. But
Yeah.
I love that role so much that I did that for about a year. Then my family and I decided to move to Temecula area because it was about halfway, and cost of living is definitely a lot better in Temecula than it was in San Diego during those years and stuff. So at any rate, the commute was awful, but I loved the job. But now I found an opportunity to be able to work from home again. Being able to spend time with family, and all of those things combined, I think makes me a better leader. Gives me a little bit more patience when you're working with different personalities. Helps you think of outcomes and scenarios differently. Because when my employees are on the phones talking to other students, there's all different kinds of scenarios that come up, and they're in the moment with that student. So it allows me to give some kind of context that may be thinking outside of the box, if you will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you see as some of the advantages and disadvantages of being a manager in a remote situation?
That's a great question. I would say, disadvantages is definitely that face-to-face connection, that just inner office camaraderie, team building, excitement that cannot be replicated just on a screen. Seeing a 3D person sometimes. When we're having our teams meetings, sometimes I just wish I could see the people that I'm speaking to. So that's a definite disadvantage. It's an online Zoom meeting world now, so you grow and you learn how to overcome those challenges. A lot of team building exercises, as many remote games and wheel spins and contests and things of that nature that we try to do all the time. An advantage of working in a remote environment. I think if you find the right folks who know how to limit distractions, right? If you find those folks,
Yeah.
it's an amazing opportunity for somebody who, similar to myself, a lot of my people are mothers, fathers, have that family life. And it's very rare and unique where you can have a good income opportunity working from home, just being basically on the phones. There's a lot of paperwork and other tasks that have to be done along the way, but the people that I get to work with, they find it as a great overall opportunity versus the back and forth, the commute, and you get to kind of control your day a little bit better, which I find people value a lot. I don't require people to be 24/7 on the phones. I allow them to set their business up in a business model that works for them. And that may, for some, be more calls. For some, it may be more texts. It may be more email, however they choose to work their business. As long as we're meeting our objectives, our quotas, our numbers, things of that nature, I think having that remote flexibility is a huge benefit. Almost as big as healthcare or dental or vision. Like it's a benefit in that sense, I think, for my folks anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Where do you see marketing fitting in to what you're doing?
Oh, marketing is an absolute linchpin. I am by no means a marketing professional. We have a whole wing of our business that does that, and they provide us our lifeblood, which are lead flow. And we have several different marketing tools that our marketing department uses. Primarily, like Google, Facebook. We generate leads through those channels. Also directly on our website. Obviously people can go and just look us up from there and get contacted that way. But we use those marketing channels to gauge interest. Usually there's a form that they'll fill out and express their program of interest. From that point, we give them a call. Just that simple. They express interest in a medical assistant program. Hey, Jim, my name's Kahlil. I'm calling for you from MedCerts. I understand that you're looking into to becoming a medical assistant. Tell me a little bit about that. What makes that the right choice for you? And I think that's the fun part of the conversation. Like once marketing has done its job and we can connect, or that's what we're attempting to do, is make that connection. And once that connection is made on a personal level, then we can start talking about the specifics of the potential role, the cost of tuition, potential pay from going down that path. How we have career services that assist. We have student support that assists. That's all what's hopefully helping the potential student feel more secure about making such a big change in their life. And so you got to have that connection first.
Where is someone typically in your prospects as they come in? Where are they in their career? Are they like at the very beginning, or are they done some things and wanted to do something different? Or maybe
no, that's a great question. The majority of our students are probably coming from it could be, for instance, a lot of them may work a warehouse type job and they're looking to make some kind of change, find a better way for themselves. It may be somebody who is working in a hospital and is trying to move up, and they need to get a higher certification to become a sterile processing technician or a surgical tech, right? And then so they may have the access, but doesn't have the certification.
Okay. So they have a vision. They see what the benefit is of getting that cert.
Yeah. One thing that I tell my team, I tell them daily, and just as a reminder, we are attempting to provide a pathway, to give them a vision of where they could be, or show them where they are, show them where they could be, and we're just the vessel to get them there. It is MedCert, so that's how we try to phrase, our opportunity, and how we try to move a person from being interested in that program to taking action on that program. It's even part of our SOP, our standard operating procedures. We know these leads are they've requested information. They may have seen our ad on TikTok, or they may have seen it on or however much longer that's going to last. But they may have seen it on TikTok or Google or somewhere. They expressed interest, and now we get that lead. We got to move them to action, help move them to action if everything's right and in their favor.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I'd like to bring up your website here.
Sure.
You can take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is probably our primary marketing tool. This is what explains everything about the programs that we offer, the length of the courses, the cost of tuition. We're very, very, very upfront about everything that we have to offer here. How we teach, how can you learn to do a phlebotomy program online? It's very virtual, very interactive. You're not just reading multiple PDFs. You're actually doing a virtual reality version of the same work that you'd be doing in a medical environment. So it's really cool, really unique. I think in the industry, I've been in education for, 15 years or so. And to see this type of an offering at this type of a price point, and that a student can take very quickly, I think it's just an amazing opportunity for the folks who are in need of this type of service.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Lots of cool things. My daughter's a nurse.
Oh, so, wow. Okay, great.
I get stories sometimes of what she's doing.
There's a lot of them.
Phlebotomy, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that taking like blood?
Drawing the blood. Yep, drawing the blood primarily.
Yeah. My daughter was always good at that. They would call her and ask for her to do it if they were in trouble. She was good at that.
My wife's a medical assistant as well, and she took a little too much joy in drawing my blood when I went to go get checked out. I was always a little leery of that, but no, it's a field that's never going anywhere. Healthcare, obviously, as long as there's humans going to be around here, this field, this industry is not going anywhere. So, for someone who's looking to kind of level up, to maybe make a better career move for themselves, this is a great place to start. We provide entry-level training, all the way up to advanced level training. Just depends on which program that the student's interested in.
Oh, that's great. You got lots of choices for people, and I love that it's an alternative to college.
Yeah.
It's trade schools. It's another way to make a successful life.
Absolutely. Well, there's as we all know, there's levels to everything, and somebody doesn't. Although we need and value and treasure all of our doctors and surgeons and things of that nature, there's a whole group of people out there that have the potential to work in the healthcare field, but maybe don't have the time to dedicate a 4, 5, 6, 7 year a training mission to get to those types of levels. This provides a great alternative for those who are right there in that middle. And God bless the people that do this kind of work as well, because we need those people too.
Absolutely. Yeah, my first daughter's a nurse, and my second daughter is a pet groomer, and they're both, the nurse, she knew she wanted to be a nurse when she was like little, and that's what she decided. And my younger daughter, it's kind of like me. It's like I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. But
the journey's the fun part.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So that's been fun. So so what's you had mentioned that you're into Forex and trading and that type of world.
That is correct.
Talk about that a little bit. What is that? What got you into that, and what is it that you enjoy about it?
It's kind of a two-part thing. I think I was just randomly watching some random YouTube video maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I don't remember the day or the moment, but I remember the event around it. And, I just saw that. I was always curious about what charts were. You see them on the news at night. Hey, the Dow closed here, the NASDAQ closed there. And
right.
I didn't really know what the heck they were talking about. And, well, then I one day saw this video on YouTube, and it said, this is a Forex market. So you can You can make a ton of money. Like it was just all grandiose, like it just a pie in the sky type situation. So, I said, okay, you can click a couple buttons and make some money. I can do that. It's a sure thing, easy. And that's when the bug bit me. That's when the bug bit me for sure. So,
Okay.
the Forex markets, that's trading the value of different currency from one country to another. That's where it started. It was very low barrier to entry. You can start up an account with $100, and I said, I took a couple trades, and I'm like, this $100 turned into $250, and I'm like, okay, I just pressed buttons and it grew. It is not that simple. Let me be the first one to tell anybody. I was completely wrong about the simplicity I thought it would take, back then. But for me, it's like seeing a puzzle. I don't want to say it's like seeing the matrix, but if you can understand the patterns that occur, if you can understand how the markets trade from a pattern perspective, from an algorithmic perspective, it becomes like it's like watching, I can't even, how a kaleidoscope is beautiful. When you spin it in your hand and you see the different patterns take shapes and forms, you can almost see that in the markets after enough seat time with it. And if you can understand, well, this pattern has done this historically, so it should react this way in the future. You can place trades off of what those patterns and what those algorithmic tendencies tend to be. So, like I said, that bug bit me hard. Since then, I've traded Forex, futures, obviously the relatively new advent of crypto, pretty heavily into that as well. I delved into options for a little bit. It's not my favorite, but I can do it. Excuse me. And where there is great risk, there can also be great reward if managed accordingly. By no means am I a master at it. By no means am I, making $1 million over here every other day. But if you can figure it out, you can pull a decent piece of profit out of the markets on a consistent basis. So it's just a passion of mine. I worked for a company in San Diego, online trading academy for a bit of time. And that's why I drove back and forth to do that job so much, because it was about my passion. I couldn't not go to do that job. So that helped fuel the fire as well. I definitely spend way too much time looking at charts and things of that nature, but it's one of those things that I do, whether it was a job or not. It's something I'm passionate about.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great. You got to follow your passion, right?
Yes.
That's what
as expensive a habits as they may be.
Well, I think I can tell it gives you energy talking about it. I mean, your voice picked up and your energy level picked up when you started talking about it. So you can see that it's something that you're passionate about.
It's exciting. It's exciting to know that when you talk about being able to forecast price, it's literally just saying predicting what the future price will do. And so when you make that prediction and you read it correctly, you have effectively just told the future. And so it's an excitement, it's an energy. Like when like if you bet on the right team and I got it right, the Rams won, go Rams all day. To know that you predicted it right is a great feeling. And that it wasn't just a guess. It was a reading of a chart, and you read it and were therefore able to forecast it correctly. That's a whole world and universe that I get a lot out of.
Well, that's probably one of the benefits of spending all that time looking, as you say, looking at the charts. What do you say? I've heard different. I've never traded like that, but I've heard that some people call it speculating instead of investing.
Sure.
What do you see is the difference of those two, and do they relate at all to what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I would say it's speculative because, or there's different types of trading. So you can be an investor where you're just taking some money and putting it into stock X, Y, or Z, and you don't worry about it. Like
Right.
you believe in the company, you believe in that, I don't know, Apple, IBM, whatever you want to call it. Like you believe in that company enough for you to go and put your money in it with an expectation of a higher value at a later date. That in and of itself, I guess, is speculative also, but I guess what determines it is the level of activity in it. So some will just buy and hold. I will buy intraday and be expecting to get out of that trade in, could be 10 minutes, could be a couple hours, could be by end of day.
Intraday is several trades in the same day, right?
Several trades. Scalping, they also call it scalping. So that could even be, I normally tend to, when I'm scalping or intraday even, I'll base it off of maybe a 15 or 15 minute chart and lower. But for example, with cryptocurrency, I guess I would consider myself an investor in that. And so I would make a purchase at a very lower price and not touch it at all and just let it accumulate. And I'm sure you've heard, Bitcoin right now currently is well above all-time highs, actually.
It's gone crazy. It's like asymptotic right now.
I believe it's about 73 and some change right now, give or take. And so
if it was like 2 weeks ago, it was like 20 or something.
Yeah, in summer of September-ish of last year, summertime into summer last year, it was right around 20s, 19s, and whatnot. So if you apply the same principles of chart reading, when the markets are at their lows, let's call Bitcoin at a $20,000 price point, if you apply those same chart understanding, that is a very high likelihood of being a potential bottom of the market at that point in time. And you also know that there's a reasonable expectation to expect higher prices thereafter. So you want to be a buyer when it's down in the 20s, when everybody hates it and nobody understands it, and all these exchanges are blowing up, and all this stuff going on crazy with crypto at that point in time. But if you're confident in where you feel the market is going to go, you have no problem being an investor. Everybody's hearing about Bitcoin at 75,000 right now, and everybody wants in. So everybody's going to tell you, "Oh, I want to buy Bitcoin now. I'm hearing all about it. It's all over the news." Well, if you want to buy it at 75,000, why wouldn't you want to buy it back when it was 20,000? It feels a lot worse, but that's the right time to get into that market. I know on YouTube we have to say not financial advice, so I'll say that too.
Yeah. Right. So you've got Bitcoin, Ethereum. Yep.
Those are some of the more well-known coins that are out there. Obviously, there is a huge universe of different options to get into. I have people ask me all the time. I tell them, you got to research it. You got to look it up. You got to know what it is that you're getting into, because each of these different coins you hear about, they're different projects and they're different uses and use cases and utilities. Pretty much all the ones that you've come across on your screen there are some of my favorite ones anyway, but there's a rhyme and reason behind it. So to answer your question, if I'm investing, it's on the belief of what it is that I'm investing in. On the speculative side, I might trade the NASDAQ, I might trade, the Dow, I might trade the ES. And I have no belief in any one of them over the other. I just believe that the market's going to either go from where it is now to a higher price point, or from where it's at higher to a lower price point. So I guess, if anything, that would be kind of the answer to your question of the difference between investing and speculative trading, if you will.
Okay. That's interesting. So when you look at these charts, I don't know. I don't want to get into the details. We'll get lost in the weeds.
We'll need a whole other podcast for that.
So these are the kind of charts that you look at, right?
Effectively so, yeah. simplicity is always best. I've learned, or let me not say I've learned because I'm always learning, but I try to stay focused around just price action, not all the indicators and all the bots and all. You see that chart right there, that swing it into a potential crash. Like, I don't even know what that is. What that is not representative of my trading style at all.
This one looks interesting. Is like you can see some trends going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. The hard part of it is the way that that most people who try to attempt to to trade in the markets, they find themselves using tools and resources and indicators that show past historical confluences, if you will.
Right.
Where I try to differentiate, and what my personal edge is, I think, is that I try to read what they refer to as price action, what's happening right now in real time, and making the decisions based off of that, as opposed to what has already occurred over the past, X amount of time. And I think it puts you in a little bit more advantage because you can see where price is going for in a future context versus where it's been in a past context.
Okay. Wow. I'm just looking at all this.
Did the bug bite you too?
No. I just I love charts. I'm a technical guy. It's like I love charts and stuff, but it's like I love like an example. Horse racing. My brother-in-law is into thoroughbreds.
Okay.
And I go to the track with him. We go to Del Mar up to
absolutely.
Arcadia. Yeah. And he knows. You go in the back with him into the paddock before the race, and he knows all the trainers, and he follows all the horses, and he knows their training schedule. He knows which ones are taking what drugs, and if they're sick. Or so he's got the details, right?
Absolutely.
He knows, like, some people come and they sit in the stands and they'll bet on a horse because the color of the jockey, the colors they wear. They bet on the color, and they may or may not
feel and the emotion.
Yeah, they feel that. They go and they okay, well, I feel this. So, but what he does is he goes to the back and he's got all these details, and he knows what's going on day to day, what their training schedule's like, if they, what they've eaten today, the horses, and he knows all that stuff. So when he goes to place a bet, he has a much higher probability, in my view, of winning, and he does win.
Ability.
He doesn't. He doesn't gamble a lot, but he's. I think just being with it, he enjoys it, but he loves the details. He loves to get in there, and I think it's the same with stocks. Like if I'm going to buy like an Apple computer, I want to know. It's very difficult from the outside to understand exactly what's going on at any company, but that's really what you need to do, I think, in order to win long term. Is really understand a few markets and know companies really well, and the people that are running them, what their track record is, all that stuff. And
it's all in the details. It's all in the details, and you can get as granular as you want or be as hands off as you want. But the more granular you get, I think the better predictive skill you can pull out of it, and you can make better decisions. Be it horse racing, be it Bitcoin, or be it Apple computer, like whichever one it is.
Right. It sounds like that's the approach you're taking on it. You study and you learn and you understand and you make not bets, but you put money in a place where, based on what you're learning,
it makes sense.
And the number. Yeah. So that's cool. What gives you that passion, that drive?
Yeah.
To want to learn and do all that. And, it's a lot easier just to make bets, right?
A lot easier. I view this as a skill set that I've acquired over X amount of years. From the trading helps me with my patience at my job. You know, the having the different personalities allows me to kind of to look at different markets when I'm trading. So I think it kind of all kind of pulls together. The passion is by far my daughters and my family, and being able to possibly pass on a skill set that, you know, my 5-year-old, like she'll come in here and she's like, "Oh, Daddy, it's green, it's red, it's green, it's red," and I just want that bug to bite her, because if it's something that she can pick up on, she'll never be beholden to a job. She'll never have to 9 to 5 it. She'll never have to, if she doesn't want to. If she wants to go out there and be, you know, the biggest, I don't know, whatever she wants to do with her life when she gets there. She can do that if she wants to, but I want to give her some kind of solid skill set that schools don't teach her, that, you know, you can't just go out and where would you even go to learn how to become a trader? Like you have to go on a trading floor somewhere. It's so simple. It can all, going back to remote, it can all be done right here in the house. And if I, as her father, can give her that skill set, show her that this is how Daddy bought, you know, the swimming pool, or bought this or that or whatever it is, and then she starts to associate, you know, hey, if I learn that, I can, as she grows, of course, you know, in 18, 19, she's 5 now, and I think she's 29. But as she continues, you know, I think this is going to be one of the most valuable skill sets I can do for my personal future generations down the line. Because if you get good at this, if a person can have the patience, think critically, and you know, have that same passion, you can make money from anywhere, literally. Even if it's just a secondary thing. Maybe she has a career and just does that on the side. Cool, no problem.
Yeah, well, these days having a plan B, I talk about that a lot, is having you know, some kind of plan B, because being an employee anymore, there's no guarantee at all.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You're going to be there for a long period of time. Things could change. The company could get bought out. They change management. They change the team around. They change philosophies, and you may not fit. And that's just the way it is. It's not that you've done anything wrong necessarily. It's just that things change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to not be prepared for that, I think, is a mistake.
Yeah. I tell my folks to control the controllables. Like, there's so many different variables when you're dealing with the public and you're dealing with just people, you know, leads and potential students. And, you know, there's so many things that can take a person off their task, whether it's making so many phone calls, whether it's their monthly number. Like, there's so many different things that can take any person in business or in life off of their, you know, off the path that they're seeking. And I'm really big with my group, with my family, about, you know, this is what we can control. So we can worry, we can, I tell my folks, we don't plan for problems that don't exist yet. Like, we can't fix those problems until they arise. And when they arise, we will address it. We will fix it. But what can we be in control of right now? How can we win the day? How can we win this week? Don't worry about where you're going to finish the month at. But we're not there yet. That's why the month has 30 days. So you can do a lot of work in between it. So let's just get a win in today. Let's just get in a win this week and see where we go from there. No final decisions made till we just get past this day. And then we can look back and make a educated decision on what to do next.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great philosophy.
Thank you. Thank you. Hard earned.
Yeah. Well, the good ones usually are.
Yes, sir. That is correct. That's correct.
What do you see as your biggest challenge right now? What's your biggest leadership challenge?
Biggest leadership challenge. Biggest leadership challenge. I think as a leader, we are the ones who are ultimately responsible for the success of change, or whether change happens successfully or not. Like, you know, I can come up with a new comp plan, I can come up with a new enrollment process, and if it wins, great. If it fails, not so great, and it's on me either way. So I think my biggest challenge is getting folks to adopt change. How fast can I get them to adopt change? How well can I get them to adapt to the change? And how it is having that continual belief that the changes that occur are in your best interest. And I tell them a lot of times, because if anything is, let's say our compensation package changes. The one thing that, nobody likes that, it's a part of the needs of business. Things evolve and things adjust as budgets grow and shrink. But I'll tell them, you still have the same opportunity to make the same kind of income, and it's never as good as you want, but It's never really as bad as it feels. And if you have that balance, at least for me, I don't know any other leaders out there, but I find as long as I have to have that type of a balanced mindset, continually have patience and display patience. That usually keeps people on board the Kahlil train, and keeps them on board with any changes that I got to make happen, from time to time.
Very good. That's a continual challenge, and you're always, I'm sure, evolving, learning. What's your mindset diet like?
I'm told I am annoyingly positive about every situation.
Yeah.
I really try to display everything is natural. It's who I am. I'm always looking for the brighter side of things. I always look back and say, there has been a time in my life where things were worse than this. And as long as I can say that, then I know it gives you hope to move forward. I try to do a lot of nightly meditations, not every night, but I try to do it every night and try to go to sleep on that. Just try to wash the day out. Remind myself that I'm doing the right things. I'm doing the ethical thing. Self-improvement, but like self-motivation. I don't believe somebody should be able to come from outside and motivate me. They can, but if it's not in here coming out, it's going to be false, fake to me. So I just really try to exemplify what I see in people, be a sounding board for them to keep their energy levels up as well from a leadership perspective. But it has to start in here. And I just hope people feed off that energy, kind of like a captain of a football. I played football a long time ago. Kind of like a captain would, like, sometimes you get that rah-rah pep speech. And that's my responsibility to keep my team motivated through the storms that they deal with on a day in, day out basis. I don't know if that answered your question, but
no, that's perfect. Exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. It's getting that, leaders, I think, are in a different, place. I mean, you've got to be like 20 steps ahead.
Very true.
And then you've got to be prepared to take action on whatever happens, and having that positivity, I think, is critical. Because that keeping that energy up, you have to put in a lot of energy to sometimes to keep that buoyant
level high. A lot of times, I think at part of my journey, I've worked retail and customer service and, a lot of different jobs along the way. And I find that a lot of roles that I was in was about, if a customer asked for something, sometimes the first response was like, okay, we can't do that. We can't do that. But, sometimes you're telling them what you can't do. I try to guide my folks to figure out, let your first thought be, what can we do? If our phones are down, okay, phones are down, nothing I can do about it. I'm not an IT guy. We got an IT department, let them figure it out. But what can you do? You can text message, you can mass text, 200 people right now and start working from that perspective. You can email, you can move some of the people who are in your pipeline, you can, manage them a little bit more. There's always something that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person gets into that scenario, it's easy to fixate on what cannot be done. I forgot the movie. Um, I want to say it was Pearl Harbor, but I don't know. But anyway, I think it was Roosevelt, and he stood up out of his chair and he says, "Do not tell me what can't be done. Just tell me what can be done." And so that kind of hit me, and then I learned it somewhere else along the way. And I just, you're going to get better results if you just look for what can get done, and then you can start to move the ball forward, step by step from there.
I remember that he had, I think, polio. I think.
Oh yeah. He was bound to the wheelchair, and everybody thought he was,
And for him to stand up, was like, that was like, everybody thought that would be impossible for him to do.
Exactly right.
But he did it.
And that's the energy you bring to it. I mean, that's obviously an amazing circumstance, but that's the energy I try to bring to the team is, right now you feel, okay, you have to do, you're responsible for 25 enrollments this month, and you're at 5 or 6 on the 15th of the month, right? Mm-hmm. Let's look back at what you've done in the past. You've enrolled 45 students in a month before. So where is that energy? How can we recreate, reenact, bring that back to the forefront? Because you were talking in a different way. Let's listen to that phone call. Let's listen to that phone call from a couple months ago. Let's see how you were processing your students at that point in time. And we're going to recreate that right now. Don't worry about the end of this month. The end of this month will come with or without you, I promise. But what we can do right now is get you back in a comfortable spot where you feel like the work you're doing is ultimately helping students to change their life. And just like any other business or school that's out there, in the process of that, we're doing a job too. We're very good at what we do. The compensation should be expected for a great job like that. And guess what? On the side, it gets to be rewarding along the way too.
Boy, there's leadership right there.
I try.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I try my best.
Well, man, these calls just, it never ceases to amaze me how fast the time goes.
The time does fly fast.
You have time for one more question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. I asked this of everybody on the show.
Sure thing.
So, taking a look at your whole life,
mm-hmm.
What was the boldest leadership decision that you've made, and what were the consequences?
That's a good one. Perhaps I'll give you it's kind of a twofold answer, I guess. The first thing, just a bold decision that I made was moving from, I'm originally from South Carolina, moving out to California. Only had one cousin out here. He was doing very well for himself, but I came to visit. The bug bit me there too. I'm like, oh, if I'm working out here at this store, I can do it at the same store in California. And I'm an only child. It was just leaving everything behind and just starting anew. Had I not had the courage to do that, I wouldn't have my 5-year-old daughter now, family, everything that's built up off of that. So that's just a straight up bold decision, if you will. From a business perspective, accepting the challenge when I was asked to become a leader here at my company. I started off as an employee, or as an employee, as an enrollment counselor, making those calls, doing those dials, doing that book of business, and I found really good success. It is what it is. I found really good success in this role right off the bat. So about 2 or 3 months into it, a leadership position came available, and I was asked to do it, and had to interview and do all that kind of stuff for it too. Had to present a vision, had to present a plan of what I saw this unit, this division to be. And I've been like a retail manager before, but this was different. This just a different level in my career, a different path, and a much more professional type of team, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it was scary. It was scary to take a jump and take a risk, and know that everybody's looking to me now for an answer, and I've only been here 2 months. What do I know? But I felt very passionate about, I feel very passionate about education. Like I said, I've been doing it for about 15 years at different schools along the way. And I said, let me take that chance. Let me take that risk. And the consequence, you say consequences, but, in that realm of positivity, it's been one of the most positive consequences that I've ever had in my life. I get to see my baby daughter just sprout a little bit more each and every day. I make a decent wage for it. It's nothing exorbitant, but it pays the bills. It takes care of my family, puts food on the table. My wife's cooking right now too. And to know that I can do all of those things from the comfort of my home makes it worth taking that risk. So if anything, each one of us is going to get different risk-taking opportunities in the markets, on some crypto, on a move, career advancement. Like, it's a risk for our students too. And so I use those personal experiences to help my team navigate those students through that risk. I use it with my team specifically to help them navigate waters when they're feeling everything's against them and they're not going to succeed at their goal. I help them with that patience and saying, let's just go one step at a time. Let's take it slow. Don't worry about the big picture. Let's just get to the next step. And then, hopefully I'm taking all these lessons and I'm giving it to the most important people in my life is my 3 daughters and my wife, and showing them that, hey, you can take a risk out there. Don't focus on the negative. Stay focused on the positive. Good things should come out of that. The probability is high. I use trading where the probability is very high. If you get all those little details right, the probability is very high that you're going to find some kind of success along the way. May not be where you thought it was going to be, but you'll find some success, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and it appears to me that you're enjoying all of this too.
It's fun. It's fun. Sometimes the trades stress you out, and sometimes, like anybody, working with multiple different personality people, like it can get stressful sometimes too. But I think I'm where exactly I'm supposed to be. I think I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm grateful for all of it.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me on the show today and for sharing your stories and your leadership styles and your opinions. I know, sometimes that's not easy, and it's I know people are going to appreciate listening to this.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. I know that, how we met, and we just instantly connected and we just had great conversation. So I love to see that it's come to all of this.
Lisa's going to be excited to hear that because we met at Yard House, right?
Yard House, just hanging out, just having a good time.
Yeah.
And, here we are, 2 leaders sharing stories. I love it.
It's very, very cool. Yes, definitely.
All right.
Well, I'm going to end the broadcast. Hang on a sec after I'm done.
Absolutely.